Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode we are going to take a look at Path of Civilizations. We're going to look at this from a solo standpoint. I'm going to show you a little bit of how it plays, and then I'll tell you what I think. Let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done already. If you have, thanks so much for that support. I really appreciate it. Alright, first and foremost, you can see this game is quite the table hog. And there's no two ways about it. It's just got a lot going on. A lot on the table. However, luckily from a solo standpoint, the solo information is really compartmentalized right here. So that means the rest of this is just what it takes to play the game. So playing with multiple people, wow, I'm sure this would really fill up the board or fill up the table. Anyway, so what are we doing here? This game is, I would say, an abstract civilization game. Okay, and what you're basically doing is you are kind of weaving your way through the mechanisms of this game to, how do I put it? To maximize the impact of each of these challenge cards and each of these different battle cards, okay? Or war cards, or however you want to look at it. Conflict cards. And there's also other ways you're going to score points too. You're going to score points based on the cards you decide to invest in, based on how they're laid out in your tableau. They're going to do different things for you. They're either going to generate you quote-unquote resources in the form of these cubes, which you parcel out in these different places, or they're going to generate different points, these research points, and they could be cultural or trade or religion or war or industry. And while this looks like a technology track, these are actually going to be spent to get these cards out here. These cubes get spent out of these containers for various things throughout the game. And even though it looks pretty complex, I will say it's not that complex. It's more straightforward. I would definitely say that. I would also say that while there is a decent amount of iconography, they do a good job explaining it in here with the symbols. And for the most part, the symbols are very much logical. And each of the cards is also covered quite well in the compendium when you need to look up exactly, all right, what is it really saying? And so that's important to have that, and luckily that's okay. Now, in the base game, well, this is the base game. In the game, period, there are a ton of variety of cards that go into the challenge cards and go in the battles. The battles, they're just battles. They're not that interesting, right? They're just things. But when it comes to the challenges, those things are all different in all sorts of different ways, which I really think is cool. I like that. There's also a lot of different cards that are represented here as the monuments or wonders, pardon me, and as the leaders. So there's a lot of different leader cards as well. So variety and content are your friend in this game. There is plenty of that. Now, let me go ahead and show you what it's like to play this game. They tell you the different steps on the bottom of your player board, which is very helpful, but they also give you it right here, which is good too. So they're telling you exactly how to do it, and you're basically going to take these different steps 9 times, and then the game is over, okay? So right now I'm in the beginning of round 7. So the first thing I do in round 7 is I look over here at my reference, and it says deal out 2 of these level 3 wonders. All right, and 1 of these level 3 leaders. And the leaders and wonders and such have a variety of effects. They are worth points. They generate sometimes resources or discounts for you or do other things. And some of them depend on whether they're alive, active, or dead. And when they're alive, they sit in this spot right here and they do what they're supposed to do. And when they're dead, they go down here and they may have a power that interacts with them at that point. Excuse me. The different wonder cards you can build, some of them are end game scoring and other ones are instant or a combination of instant and end game benefits. So when you build those, you put them right out here. All right. Now what do I have going on here? Well, the first step is one that I'll explain to you. You will take your 5 cards that you're dealing with in step A. You must discard one of these 5. And as you look at these cards, they have a couple of different things on them. First of all, they have the resources that they could potentially generate for you. They have a victory point amount that they'll be worth at the end of the game. And then they have the research points that they could generate for you as well. But that is depending on whether you put it over here for the research or over here for the resources. So that's kind of cool. I like that. But each of these has to be, you kind of have to go through and decide, okay, well, which card do I want to discard and be done with? And at the end of, near the end of every round, you're also going to buy a new one. You can buy any color of card. I happen to have one of each right now, but there is nothing to stop you from buying duplicates of the same card, specializing a bit, basically getting more green or whatever you want to do, however you want to do it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to look across and I'm going to see, okay, what is my situation here? It's going to be demographic shock. So what does that mean? Well, that means if I have 10 population, then I should get 5 points. And maybe I don't remember what that means. Luckily, I have this nice glossary that I can help with, or that I can look it up, and it'll tell me exactly. It says, each player who has reached or exceeded level 10 on their population track gains 5 victory points. And then there's a bottom thing. It says, each player adds up all the cards of their cultural type and their sages to determine their history points for this challenge. They immediately gain the history points, and then they divide and gain this value in research for the spiritual type. Now, that's the top and the bottom. And so the top gives you points and the bottom gives you more points plus a way to get more of these things over here, okay? And what's interesting too is that it has to do with the cards you have in play at the time, all the different specific types of cards you have in play, plus the sages that you have out here. Okay, that's also a big part of it. So that goes into some of the choices of what do I want to do and how do I want to do it. So for instance, well, if I want to really maximize this one, I could put a bunch of these over here and get more population and more sages. Now, when it says 10, that means I've got to be over here. I'm not even close to that. Okay, so that's not going to happen. So I won't get the 5 points there, but I still can benefit from some of the other stuff that's going to be happening here. Now, which card do I want to discard? Well, this is an older card, not that helpful at this point, unless I wanted to use it over on this side, but I'm not going to be doing that. So I'm going to discard that one, which leaves me with these two, and these will generate me the research points that I need, okay? So we've got that, and then I've completed section A. So then I go on to section B. And I noticed that after I completed that last round, before I started this, I didn't take the sage cubes out. So these are something you have to put in basically every other turn, just like you're going to put in military units every other turn to pump up things, okay? And so what I'm going to be looking at is, if I were to add these up, how does that overall affect me? Well, I'll show you here. Okay, so now we get the resources. So anything in the spot that says B, if it has resource cubes, we would get those. So what this means is that I'm going to get 2 of these, and I'm going to get 1 of these. These are for my sages. These are going to help that condition. These are for recruiting leaders, okay? You can only get a certain amount of cubes equal to the number right here where your population is. So this limits me to 7 cubes, or it limits me to 7 on the research track, okay? So that's what those things do right there. This is a limiter on that. Now, I come to, excuse me, the next spot, and this is the only spot that the AI would potentially interact with you. You look at the cards, depending on the difficulty level that you chose at the beginning, and I'm playing in the very easy one, and you see round 7, he is going to move up on this track right here. And when he moves up first, he randomly selects one of these, and he flips it over. He doesn't get the bonus, but that's what's there. Now, I got lucky on that. That's 4 sages. Now, it doesn't help me at this point, but that's what he does first, okay? If I was to do it at the exact same time, we would both flip both of these, and then I would choose one or the other. If I have enough sages to advance, meaning 3, I would then, I don't know if it's sages, sorry, it's philosophers, or diplomats, or culture guys. I think it doesn't matter. Blue cubes. If I have enough blue cubes, then I can move from here to here, and I can take advantage of this, which will give me some type of benefit times 2. So in this case, it would have generated me 2 sages if I could have moved up, but I didn't have enough, okay? Then we come to the wonders. He does not buy a wonder here in stage 7. I could buy a wonder and I have 4 cubes, and I think I will buy a wonder. So which ones do I want to buy? Well, they have a couple that are worth points. This is worth 4 points in the end. This is going to help me gain some more battle resources and things of that nature, plus some population. This one gives me end game points, but these are worth 7, so I can't buy those. I shouldn't say where they cost 7. So maybe what I'll do is, in this situation, I'll get the Terracotta Army for 4. So I take all of these. You're only allowed to buy 1 wonder per round. And whatever you buy, you get right away. So I'm going to get 3 instantly on the military resource track. I'm going to move up my base military power by 1. And then I'm going to get a cube in the infantry or military strength track over there. And I will get another population up here, okay? Now, that is the end of my wonders side of things. Same with him. Now we go to leaders. Does he buy a leader? No, he does not. And he doesn't spend anything. He just gets it, okay? That's how it works. I don't get one either because I only have 2. I could buy if there was one that was out here with 2, but I don't have that. I haven't been investing that much into it, so it is what it is. Now we go to phase D, and in phase D, I'm limited to 7 increases, and luckily that's all I have is 7. So I'm going to increase each of these based on the icons here, and there we go. I have my 7. Now in E, I must buy a card out here. Whenever I buy a card out here, it will count for any of those scoring things over there. Plus, it will be a new card I can use next round, okay? And it will also come with some type of bonus or benefit for me during the... You can't really see them because I've sleeved the cards, but anytime you buy a card, it comes with some kind of instant benefit or bonus, all right? So I have a lot on the war side, which is good because I'm lagging behind. So I'm going to spend some money. I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this level 3 war, which is aviation. However, my leader makes it cost 1 less, so it only is going to cost me 6. So I'm at 8 right now. It means I move down to 2. I take this aviation card and I set it here. Now I can use that later for either the resources or the research points, and it's also worth 2 points, but I immediately get this bonus. So it'll give me one of these, let's just say philosopher cubes, 3 boosts here, 1, 2, 3, which puts me much more in better shape, and 1 of these wonder resources for construction. And then finally, I resolve this. Well, I didn't get to 10, so I'm out of luck there, but I do have 1 of these plus 2 more sages over here. So that would give me 3. I round that down. Unfortunately, that is... actually, I don't round that down yet. So I get 3 points, okay? So that's one major way to score points is to, maximize those. Now I take 3, divide by 3 equals 1. I don't know if you can see that as well. And so I'll take it off so you can see what I'm looking at. So now I take the number of points I just got, I divide by 3, and I get that much in cultural or religious points, okay? And that's it. I move on to the next round. So you're going to play this in 9 rounds, and in the last round you have both a cultural challenge and just a challenge and a war card. And then you basically sum up your points and you compare it to the 4 cards the AI have. So in order for me to win, I have to beat their score right now, which looks like it's what? Let's see, 30, 43, 50, 65. So I have to get 66 points to win. That's it. That's all I have to worry about. If there's a tie, the ties are a tie in which cards or which leaders, I'm sorry, because he only interacts in leaders or wonders that he wants. He has a priority and I have a priority, so he will win in certain categories. And he also has a desire for certain cards and certain things that he will try to get to. And this moves around a little bit, but it's kind of inconsequential for your understanding right now. All right, so that is the whole thing. You're going to do that 9 times, and then you score, and then you see who wins. Let me tell you what I think. All right, so that is the solo mode, but it really feels like the main game of Path of Civilization. There's no real difference. It competes with you in the way that other players would compete, and so I think it really does a good job in that regard. So you could play this game solo, and it is sort of a beat your own score with levels, because of course the way it works, it establishes, I shouldn't say beat your own score, it's a beat a specific score, because you know exactly how much you have to win, to win. But it does do a good job denying you cards, and there's many difficulty levels you can choose from with a lot of different varieties, so I like that. Overall, it gives you a very good, full experience of this game without adding a ton of complexity, which makes it, to me, a very fun and great way to do a bot. In a game like this, where there is no real shortage of cards, the only thing that is scarce would be the wonders that are placed, or the leaders. It does everything that a normal player would. Now, of course, this in and of itself, this abstract game, is a very non-interactive Civ game, okay? You've got majorities and things, but that's about it. You're not knocking other people back based on what you do, or penalizing them with the way you attack them or anything like that. There's really none of that. There's very, if any, I don't even think there are any negative points. And that's one thing I like about it. Even though you don't feel like you have an abundance, per se, of resources to just get whatever you want, and as much as what you want, you feel like you have plenty, and you can continue to get stronger and stronger cards, and you can focus on things to get the level 4 cards if you want. However, the level 3 cards are very tempting too, so it's like, oh boy, I don't know, should I get this, should I get that? It is a game that is just plain and simple fun, and I really like it. I really do. I like the fact that it gives me kind of a Civ flavor. I'll put it this way. I really don't feel like this is much of a Civilization style game. It has the window dressing of a Civ, but even the way that you can get different cards, you can get like a masonry card in turn 7 after you've gotten a foundry or a robotics card, for instance. There's not a progression like that. It is more of a fun, abstract strategy, Euro style game that has a Civ theme to it. And so for that, I really appreciate it. I enjoy it. I like that. But it doesn't feel like any of the other kind of Civ games I've played, where you feel like you're going, from one level to another level to another level to another level. The challenges and the things you have to do from the battle standpoint get tougher, and the theme of the cards gets more advanced in regards to the era, so to speak, right? In the beginning, you have something ancient, and as you get to the end, you have something modern. But the fact that you can buy ancient and modern different technology cards and put those in your deck at any time and swing back and forth, I think it blows the cloud of the theme off of this for me and just says, yeah, this is just a fun Euro to play. And that's okay, because I like fun Euros. But I can see some people not liking that. That's one of the things that I would say is kind of a knock against it. But I like the flexibility. So it's actually a benefit to me, not necessarily a knock, because it gives you the opportunity to invest in lower cards just to get an abundance of them, and that might change how you deal with some of the cultural challenge cards, or whatever you want to call them. And so overall, I don't know. I was coming into this with a pretty open mind, and I'd say that I'm pretty pleased. I'm also pleased that even though it's 9 turns that are effectively the same, I didn't feel like 9 turns was too long. I thought that was the right amount of game, because every time the turns were very, very quick, even though it seemed like it took a long time while I was explaining them. These are like, I don't know, 3-4 minute turns maybe. They're really pretty quick for the gameplay here. And it just felt like I liked every kind of choice I made. And there was an abundance of choices to be made because of the types of cards that are out there that are pushing you to do different things, and the stuff that you can buy and invest in. I just think it's really cool. So I'm enjoying this one. I'm going to definitely enjoy it for a while. And from my standpoint, it is a good game, a good Euro game. If you're looking for an interactive Civ game, we're going to be interacting heavily with a bot. This is not that game, okay? And I think I made that pretty clear. It is definitely not that kind of game. It's different. But it's not I would say it doesn't feel like some of the other Civ games that were like paint by the numbers and that I've played before. And I've sold all those. I don't even remember I sold them so long ago, where it was just kind of like, yeah, I'm moving up in history, but I don't know. And those kinds of things did not come through here. This game had fun written on it first, and that's what I like. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to do in the future, I really hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.